President Obama and his administration were never shy about their disdain for Israel and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. While in office, it seemed President Obama was more interested in appeasing terrorists rather than cultivating relationships with the only democratic country in the Middle East. As proof of this disdain and disregard for Israel, it was recently uncovered by Politico and other media news outlets that President Obama and his administration ran interference against the Drug Enforcement Agency Operation Cassandra, an operation which was aimed at stopping the terrorist organization Hezbollah from importing cocaine into the United States, as well as carrying out their international money laundering operation. Now news is breaking that Hezbollah was not the only terrorist element which President Obama and his administration seemingly showed favor to. A recent report from the Kuwaiti newspaper Al Jazeera alleges that President Obama and his administration tipped off the terrorist, General Qasem Soleimani, who was the commander of the Quds Force, an organization that is a designated sponsor of terrorism and the overseas arm of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Al Jazeera went on to detail that Israel was on the precipice of assassinating General Qasem Soleimani, but that the Obama administration tipped off Iran, leading to General Qasem Soleimani evading death at the hands of the Israelis. However, just a few weeks ago, President Trump and his administration have given Israel the blessing to take him out. The speculative theory traveling around is President Obama and his administration thwarted Israel's plan to kill General Qasem Soleimani because of the ongoing negotiations of the now-defunct Iran nuclear deal. Had the Israelis succeeded in their plans to take out General Qasem Soleimani, the Quds Force would have been cast into a disorganization which would have prevented them from continuing their path of death and destruction in the Middle East. It is important to note that the claims being made by Al Jazeera have not been confirmed, and former spokesman for the U.S. National Security Council under President Obama, Tommy Vietor, has denied the claims Al Jazeera is making. Mr. Vietor was prompted to refute the claims Al Jazeera made in the report when the story was tweeted out by New York Times reporter Bret Stephens, who said, "The story here, Kuwaiti sourced, is that Obama team tipped Iran to an Israeli attempt to assassinate Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general who has the blood of hundreds of American troops in his hand. What says that, Broads?" Mr. Vietor replied with, "Yeah, WTF then? Immediately confirm or deny this totally unsubstantiated claim and then tell us why you don't support assassinations." The exchange between Mr. Stephens and Mr. Vietor didn't end there. The New York Times journalist retorted with a very deep burn by saying, "Funny, I remember how Iran-Contra scandal began at Vietor 08. Little story in obscure Lebanese magazine. Also glad to know Obama administration doesn't support assassinations, except by SEAL team or drone strike. Because that's totally different." As the argument continued, Mr. Vietor incorrectly referred to General Qasem Soleimani as a political leader, and not the terrorist that he is. Yeah, at Bret Stephens, taking out Osama bin Laden is the same as assassinating an Iranian political leader. Mr. Stephens correctly pointed this out to Mr. Vietor, appropriately referring to the Iranian general as a terrorist. What is telling about this back and forth between Mr. Vietor and Mr. Stephens is that the former NSC advisor seemingly admitted that the Obama administration tipped off Iran, stating that the NSC and President Obama viewed the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani as a negative action. Mr. Vietor said via Twitter, "We were well aware of the dangers posed by QS and the IRGC. Obama sanctioned them repeatedly, among other deterrents. But an assassination of QS by Israel would be destabilizing, to put it mildly." What would be destabilizing about removing a general of a force deemed to be a terrorist organization that is a sworn enemy of Israel and has vowed to destroy America on numerous occasions? Mr. Vietor fired back, saying he did not work in the White House under President Obama, and that these accusations of President Obama and his administration tipping of Iran of Israel's plans have been repeatedly denied. He called the story fake news and said Mr. Stephens was an embarrassment to the New York Times. The accusations contained in Al Jazeera are unconfirmed, but given the tenuous relationship President Obama had with Israel during his time in office and the seemingly credible report that President Obama aided Hezbollah in an effort to get the Iran nuclear deal approved, it lends credence to the possibility that the Obama administration tipped off Iran. Be sure to follow Veteran F on Facebook for the latest Bald Eagle approved news.